Hey folks, it's me, Taliesin, back after my long hiatus and ready to talk about Wicca and paganism with all you folks once again. Now, today I wanted to talk about the degree system. This is something that a lot of people have heard of, but very few people understand. I thought I could go into a few things today that might help illustrate just what the first, second, and third degrees mean and what they don't. Now, let's get this out of the way right away. Despite the clickbaity nature of the title of this video, it is not about someone just being better than someone else. What it really just means is being more experienced, either in magic and your particular way of working, whether it's witchcraft or some other type of paganism, or more specifically about your experience and knowledge within the particular system that's giving you the degrees. But before we get into that, let's take a look at something that is really the closest parallel to the degree system that I can think of, and that's the old trading system that the guilds used to use back before universal education was a thing. Now, in the earlier days of our nation, and even in Europe, if you wanted to become, say, a blacksmith or a silversmith, some kind of skilled trade, you'd learn that skill from another blacksmith or silversmith. And you did so through going through three distinct stages. Easy for me to say. And this is one of those times where I wish I edited my videos because I could cut that flub out. But anyway, let's say you wanted to become a silversmith. The first thing that would happen is your parents would find a master silversmith, someone who owned their own shop, who would take you on as an apprentice. Now, you would live and work with that silversmith for years, learning the basic ins and outs of being a silversmith. This is very basic technique, like how you operate the equipment, how you handle things, how you even clean up the shop and make sure you have a clean workspace. Real nuts and bolts stuff. That's what you learned at the apprentice stage. Now, after you got the basic building blocks down, you would become what's known as a journeyman. A journeyman, in some methods, they would travel around to different silversmiths to find out how they did things. But basically, it was somebody who had mastered the basics, and now they were trying to really get down and learn how to master their craft. They hadn't reached it yet, but they were trying. They were going beyond 101 and trying to get deep. And then, after your journeyman years were finished, you would produce what was known as your masterpiece. Now, this was a piece of work. Say, if you were being a silversmith, it would be some piece of silver that would really show that you've really learned your stuff, that you have attained enough knowledge and practical experience that you can't learn anything else from the person who's been teaching you your whole life. You are now a master, and you can go off and establish your own business, your own practice. You'd have every right to go out and open your own silversmithing shop and eventually take on apprentices and start the whole process over again. That's exactly what the degree systems are in traditional Wicca, at least anyway. I really don't know how some of the eclectic paths that have tried to adopt the degree system work things, but within traditional Wicca, this is a very, very perfect analogy. When you come into your first degree, Journeyman, you're learning the nuts and bolts about how to be a Wiccan. What the basic concepts behind the things that you do are, what the basic tools are that you're using, real nuts and bolts stuff, what we would call Wicca 101 stuff. Then, after you've mastered all the 101 stuff, you hit your second degree. And that is where you've learned the basics, and now it's time to really start trying to, get your act together, to really show that you've learned your stuff by going farther. In a lot of covens, that'll be the point when you wind up not just worried about your own development, but you wind up helping the high priest and high priestess run the coven. Maybe you'll do rituals for dedicants or for first degrees. Who knows? But that second degree level is that journeyman where you've mastered your basics and now you're really trying to refine your craft. And then third degree equals the master stage of the old guild system, where you've not only learned your basics, but you've learned how to run a coven. You've got everything you need to run a coven of your own. And so third degree, like being a master in the old guild trades, gives you the right to go out and form your own coven, set up your own shop, and to bring on and take on new trainees. And that's really what the degree system is. It's not a question of one person being a better witch, just more experienced. And more importantly, more experienced within that tradition. If you're a third degree Gardnerian or Alexandrian, a lot of people are going to give you respect because it's not easy to hit that point. But that degree really only means something within that tradition. So don't expect a Alexandrian to bend over backwards just because you're a third degree Gardnerian. If they think that you're a smart person and you know your stuff, then they'll treat you with respect. But, you know, there's really no reason that your title or degree means anything outside of your tradition, because it's a mark of advancement within your own tradition. There are people who are third degrees in very difficult traditions who could be utterly lost going to another path because they have different methods, different workings, different emphases. So really, someone who says that they're third degree in this or that means that they've mastered that particular tradition. That's really what it means. Of course, getting to these places isn't easy, and I tend to respect people who've done the work and done the practice to get to that point. But it's not the type of thing where you're going to be able to say, you know, especially with the eclectic stuff, you're not going to waltz in and say, I'm a third degree in the rainbow moonbeam bunny fart tradition, therefore you need to listen to everything I say. No. As a matter of fact, I have degrees within the particular tradition that my wife and I practice, but you don't hear me talking about them because outside of our trad, they really mean nothing to you guys. But that is the reality of the degree system. They are a useful tool, a useful marker to show how knowledgeable and experienced somebody is within their own tradition. And that's really it. But it's not a bad thing. As someone who's worked various systems before, having rituals to mark your milestones and achievements within a... Hey guys, sorry about the edit. I know I said I don't edit my videos, but I had to edit that one because something happened and my phone stopped recording. But just wrapping up, that's the degrees. That's really what they are. That's what they mean, and that's what they do. Don't let anybody tell you that someone who has a degree is automatically going to be haughty and putting everyone down. That's their own insecurities talking. There's nothing to be afraid of about degrees. So don't let them scare you. This is Taliesin, and I'll be back soon with more discussions on Wicca and paganism and the occult. Until then, blessed be all. Taliesin out.